What will you do with your truth? According to an old Indian proverb, those who tell the stories rule the world. Welcome to VCR. Data Visualization and Creative Reporting. I am Dr. Vicki, and I am so looking forward to working with you during this course. So what? What's the point? Seriously, that's the most important question to ask when creating a data visualization. It's the first thing I ask about a data set before designing anything. And it's the primary reason we visualize in the first place, because we have a point to communicate to the world. We have a compelling finding to share, a big idea revealed in our analysis that we need to say to people. A point. Articulating the point generates an answer which drives nearly everything about visualizing that data. Here's how the conversation often goes. Client: thanks for working with us, Dr. Vicki. We have these data from parents and students, and right now they're in a bar graph, and we are certain it could be displayed better. We just aren't sure exactly how. And now I'm looking at the figure that says parent versus student perspectives. It's a bar graph. I'm seeing several questions. Eats a well-balanced diet, is active enough, hangs out with nice people, will attend college, will work during high school. I'm not quite sure what's going on. So I say, I can help with that, client. What's your point? The client seriously looks at me and says, excuse me? I then say, what's the point of showing this data about parent and student perspectives? Right now, it looks like you just want people to compare parents and students. Is that your point? The client says, actually, no. And that's the most clarifying question you could have asked. Our point is that generally, we expect students to report higher than parents on all of these questions. But our data showed that the students' expectations to go to college were way lower than their parents' expectations. That set off some alarm bells for us. And this is when I silently pumped my fist in the air because the client answered the most important question, and now I know how to better display this data. After I catch my breath, the first thing we're going to do then is take what you just said and make it the headline of the graph. We're going to replace this generic title with your main point. The next thing we will do is swap out a different graph type. Maybe something like a slope graph, since those are pretty good at highlighting when one thing is decreasing a lot and the rest are going up. Give me a day to play with some ideas, and let's talk tomorrow. So again, what was the point? What was the point? The very next day, I come in, good morning, client. What did you think of that slope graph I sent you? Now we're looking at figure 1-2, and what you're seeing is the slope graph where we've highlighted that according to the parents says 89% of the parents said their students would go to college, and the students clearly are saying 58. We've highlighted that particular piece of information. The client says it really does say exactly what we originally thought we needed to show, but I talked to my colleagues after our call yesterday and asked them what's the point. We decided that the real bottom line point was that so few students have expectations to go to college. Forget the parents, that's a secondary issue right now. What's the point? Really helped us hone our thinking. So what was the bottom line point? What did he say the bottom line point was? Oh, well, in that case, you have other options for showing that data. I telepathically send a new visual possibility, such as the visual on the screen. Maybe one of these. Client: these are both right to the point. We will choose one today. So as you see, we went through bar graphs that had all kinds of questions and numbers. There was really no point. The client said they were really attracted to the piece of information where less students than parents thought that they were going to go to college. So we highlighted that piece of information. Then we got to the bottom line point. We drilled down even further, and really all they wanted to highlight was that only 58% of students expect to go to college. So if you look, really just the number, only 58%, or a bar graph or a pie graph showing just 58%, that would do the job. So when we're doing visualizations, the first question is, what's the point? Figuring out your point sharpens the thinking and the messaging surrounding the data, and in doing so, reveals the best way to visualize all the parts of a whole. The second is you have to figure out what type of chart. What type of chart are we going to use? Let's look here. We can have a chart that shows one number, two numbers, a benchmark, survey results, parts of a whole, words and meanings, changes over time, or cause and effect. The type of visualization should be appropriate for what we are visualizing as the point, and types are available for nearly everything we can imagine. Just as the point is critical, using the right visualization is just as important. So the point must also include the intended message. Who is the audience exactly? And what is the delivery format of the visualization going to be? Is it going to be a handout? Is it going to be a video? Is it going to be a presentation? We'll need to know all of those things. Then we get to the visualization. To determine the correct visualization, we must select the type, the delivery method, and this is something a lot of people don't often think about. The complexity of the visualization must suit the intended audience. It can't be over their heads, and it can't be so simplistic that they're either offended or bored. Now, the bottom line is, if you don't find you have a point, you probably shouldn't bother with visualizing the data. No point, no visualization. So in data visualization and creative reporting, we will cover data storytelling, design techniques, managing data, patterns, dashboards, and user interfaces. I'm ready to get started, are you? Let's go.